lesson 1.3. We're going to be talking today about variables and expressions. Make sure that you have your notebook out, a pencil, maybe a highlighter, anything that can help you take notes. Okay, before we get started, we have to talk about three main vocabulary terms to be able to understand what we're doing. The first one is algebra. So basically this lesson is really the first lesson that gets you digging into this subject. And this subject basically is just math that uses symbols. So we're going to be using symbols like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, also symbols such as letters and numbers and all kinds of fun things like that. Alright, the second one is a variable. A variable is a placeholder. It's usually a letter that takes the place of an unknown number. So for an example, if you look up here, you'll see that there's an H there. Doesn't really look like math because it's not a number. But this H is replacing a number that we don't know. So since we don't know what this number is, we just plugged in a letter instead. So that is called a variable. The next and last vocabulary term that we need to focus on in this lesson is algebraic expression. An expression with operations, variables, and numbers. So here's an example of an algebraic expression. It has operations. This one has subtraction. It has variables. This variable is h. And it has numbers, 4 and 3. So those are the three terms that you need to make sure to have in your notebook so that we can get ready to do some practice problems. Alright, now let's try to do some examples with what we learned about algebra, variables, and algebraic expressions. So let's try to solve this first algebraic expression. We knew it was an algebraic expression because we had numbers, variables, and operations. So we are going to solve this using our clues. So we are given that A equals 5, B equals 12, and C equals 4. So let's go ahead and try to substitute these variables with these numbers. So we have 5 times 5, because A equals 5, minus B, which is 12, minus C, which equals 4. And once we solve it, that will be our answer. But remember, we have to do our order of operations. So using our PEMDAS, or our Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally, we're going to solve this problem. So we start with parentheses. So let's solve whatever is inside the parentheses. So we have a pair of parentheses here and here. So 12 minus 4 gives us 8. We have to carry down that subtraction sign. 5 times 5 is 25. And 25 minus 8 equals 17. So there's our answer for this first problem. Now, number 2, this is going to be a little bit different. This one we are plugging in numbers and solving, but this one we are going to have to come up with the algebraic expression. So that tells us in words we need to put it in numbers and variables. So it says the quotient of a number and 4 minus 5. So what does that look like as an algebraic expression? Let's look at some special words first. This first word, quotient. Quotient, if you'll remember, is the answer to a division problem. So the quotient of what two numbers are we dividing? We're dividing a number and 4. So we have x divided by 4. And then it says minus 5. So minus 5. So that's our algebraic expression. Alright, let's move on to example number 3. Now, 3 and 4, we're going to be using this special information up here. So we are given that 1 pint equals 16 fluid ounces. So 1 pint equals 16 fluid ounces. So we're going to need to know that for both of these problems. So let's see. Suppose the number of pints of liquid is P, which that's going to be our variable we're going to be using. Write an expression to find the number of fluid ounces. So if we look up here, and we see that pint, 1 pint equals 16 fluid ounces. So we're going to use our P. Now how many fluid ounces are we going to have? You're going to have to multiply 16 times P to give 1 fluid ounce. So that's going to be our expression. Let's look at number 4. How many fluid ounces is 5 pints? Now if you see this, 5 pints, you'll realize that this P up here stands for pints. So we're going to replace the P now with the number 5. So 16 times 5 gives us 80 fluid ounces. So that's our answer. Alright, forgot to put the 0. Be very careful when putting your answers because that makes a huge difference. 8 and 80 are totally different numbers. So the answer is 80 fluid ounces. Alright, now remember, if you have any questions, you can go back into the book and lesson 1.3 and you can find several different examples that you can look through. But for now, I want you to try to do these few problems on your own, so let's look at them together. Alright, here's 4 problems that I want you to try to do on your own, and we'll see what you get. You can pause the video and you can rewind back if you need to, anything that you need to help you solve these problems. Alright, we'll see what you get back in class tomorrow. Good luck!